how they can get me to leave if they want to. This non-human person basically told me, stop drinking, stop driving, stop being abusive, tell the truth, be honest to yourself and to the other people that you're lying to, and stop traumatizing your kid who is now putting out all of this free energy too.
Mm-hmm.
And I got many reports very similarly from lots of other non-human people in almost every case that I did. And so, long story short, I went back into the kitchen and I was very young. I was very dumb. I didn't understand the power of human emotion and the human ego.
Mm-hmm.
What do? I spill the beans in front of my whole paranormal team about what Karen and Bob do and why this person is here. And so Karen like snatches a crucifix off of the counter, or was it the wall? I can't remember, but she snatched one. And this was almost like a breaking point for me. I almost retired on the spot, and she threw it at me and was calling me a demon and making fun of how I look and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I can kind of empathize with non-human people who amp up emotion in the house. They mimic human beings, they torment them sometimes and feed off of their energy. And I understand why they don't necessarily want to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
So by some human beings, anyways. I've
Mm-hmm.
also seen beautiful non-human and human relationships. If I'm not insane, maybe I'm crazy, so don't listen to me probably. But yeah.
Well, I tell you what, Tilly, when I first started, I would have said people were crazy if they said orbs existed. I really would have. And
Yeah.
oh, you stupid. You know, you're crazy. Go to a hospital. Now I'm very seasoned. And I would use that in place of old. But
I like
I've learned enough to realize that I don't know anything. And now I don't dismiss things like, orbs or people seeing demons or non-human entities.
it. Mhm.
I don't, dismiss that at all, you know, because I have personally found so many strange things that, you know, I would have myself said I was crazy, unless I had seen it. So all I know is that we're not being taught everything about the world,
Yeah.
and we're not being taught everything about our existence. And I am really grateful because it has really opened up my eyes to a bigger universe. You know, I'm extremely grateful for what I do, and I want to continue because I love doing what I'm doing. You
Don't
know,
you just love a good mystery?
oh,
I
I
do.
love it. Absolutely, I love it. You know, one of these days I'll find out what the orbs are. I don't have anything that really communicates with me. But I will say that when I meditate before I go out, on walkabout, I'll meditate, and I have so much better activity when that happens.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
Yes.
so if
I
I've
was
got any,
told that the more someone meditates and keeps their bodies clean, the cleaner
Mhm,
diet that they eat, whether vegetarian or carnivore or whatever, the
mhm,
more clean water that they drink, the more that they meditate and heal their own past traumas and whatnot,
mhm,
that gains a lot more respect from almost all of the different types of non-human people. That's
mhm,
my understanding, even the so-called evil ones.
mhm.
So I think that might be something that's going on with you, is that in part it's a conscious reward for your meditating
That it
effort.
is. Mhm.
And they're also, I think, just naturally drawn to that.
And it very well
Makes
could be.
sense.
And it hasn't been too long ago that I've been able, like I can see people's auras if I'm like in contact with them. I
Mhm.
can't like if I'm not in contact, but if we're
Yeah.
in contact and I'm meditating, I can see their aura. And it was really surprising to me too. I was like, wait a minute, I can actually see this person. My eyes are closed, but I can still see the person, and they've got like a gray aura, or they're gold, or or green or whatever,
Wow.
um so that's something that's new to me, and I've been able to get a little bit better at it the more I meditate. um so like I say, the universe is open to an infinite amount of possibilities. So like I say, when people tell me things, I really absorb it, and I take them at face value.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I would love to give you some practice on your aura reading. Do you want to do me?
Right, well, we're not in physical contact.
Oh, you've got to be in physical contact.
Yes, I've
Oh,
got to
I
be
am
in
so sorry.
physical. Yeah, I've got to be in physical contact with them if I
Oh,
could, for me to see them. Otherwise, I can't see them. And I don't know why that is. It's just, it is what it is, you know?
yeah. Yeah. And it could be that as you improve, you'll be able to do it more
It
long
could be.
distance. Maybe
It could
you're
be.
only able to extend your auric field, your energy so far right now. At least
hmm
that's how I understand it anyways. But
Yeah, it may be just like you say, maybe just because I'm just so new at it.
yeah.
I'm just now opening up my third eye, so to speak,
Hmm. Hmm.
you know. Um, so but I really love all the paranormal stuff a lot. Sometimes I have trouble with people calling things demons and this and that. Oh, Bigfoot's a demon, or that's a demon. Everything's a demon that they don't understand.
Yeah.
Um, you know, uh, I've sort of taken on a different viewpoint of the world, or really of the universe. Is like, okay, maybe a negative entity that kind of zapped your not your frequency, but your, I guess, the power in somebody.
Hmm. The life force.
Yeah, the life force, the energy out of
Yeah.
them. Maybe you could liken them to a demon, if you want to call that a demon. And you can terrorize people. Maybe they feed off fear. That maybe there's some that do that. I don't know. All I know is that the world is not what we were told, especially not what I was told.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just kind of waking up to it, and it's a very deep rabbit hole. That much is for
It
sure.
ain't that the truth, brother?
It is. It's a very deep rabbit hole,
It is.
and I've just learned so much in such a little time. I wish I would have been open to this kind of stuff, long ago, instead of.
Mhm.
Well, I've been doing it for about 10 years now, so
Okay.
I've been in it for a minute. But I would have had 30 years experience by now.
Oh. Hmm. Well, I can say that I think that you are very much on the right track, especially you refusing to label certain or any non-human people as villains.
Right.
Um, One of the biggest things that they've always communicated to me is that the reason most human beings have a horrible reputation with non-human people is because of the entitlement and the arrogance and the disrespectful attitude.
hmm
And so I think I think that a reason that they talk to me often is because I'm I'm considered highly neurodivergent. I have very little ego content and very little emotional content. So even what you're seeing with me right now, I'm hyping up what I do have in
hmm
order for you to enjoy my presence more. But I fall more towards them in terms of how open-minded and logical and objective I typically am.
hmm
And they find that comforting. They find that calmness very inviting and comforting. And the fact that you are able to be objective and humble and then positive, and you're talking about respect and integrity, I think that you are on a phenomenal path. And I think that as you continue on, I think that you'll have some great experiences of your own.
Oh,
Truly, I
thank
do.
you. Thank you. That just age and wisdom.
Exactly.
Sometimes they go hand in hand.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes they do, you know. But I'm very adamant about, my film, my work. I don't want my name attached to anything that's fake.
Mhm.
However, I will say that yeah, this is going to be in our second film. Are you familiar with something called, I think it's called the Estes method?
I am a fan of that. Yes.
Okay, well, the first time I had ever experienced that,
Hmm.
I was out filming, and this was last year, and we're working on our second film.
Hmm.
And so for the people that don't know exactly what it is, you have essentially a ghost box that's hooked up to some earphones, and then you put on some noise canceling ear muffs so that you can't hear anything except what's coming through the ghost box or whatever you want to call it. And then we put on a blindfold so that that cuts out all of your or a lot of your external senses. So somebody asks you questions and you just repeat whatever you hear through the ghost box. And uh, I was getting these really apocalyptic uh, visions and saying these apocalyptic words like Nephilim and
Hmm.
um, honestly, I can't remember them all because I don't remember the session very well. But during that session, my camera guy, Brent, now we've seen some really messed up stuff. We really have. But he said he saw something trying to enter me. It was he said it was like almost like a hooded figure that was transparent, almost transparent. And he said he would try to dive in me and come out, dive in, come out. And it spooked him so much he will not go back to that place. That's
That
a
is
true story.
wise.
Yeah, that's a true
Very
story.
wise. I would also recommend you never, I would not recommend you going back there. And when I'm talking to you, how long ago was this that
Last
you
year, last
last
year.
year?
Hmm.
Um, okay. In talking to you and listening to you about your health problems and whatnot,
Hmm.
and I always meditate at least a little bit on my guests before they come on. I did see some red flags, not that you're doing anything wrong necessarily, just like in your auric field, weaknesses and whatnot.
Hmm.
And I have met some non-human people who say that they will find people that come onto their turf and who have weaknesses, and they will do this type of thing.
Hmm.
And so I always recommend that people be in great physical health, great mental health, great vibrational health,
Hmm.
and great emotional health before they do any of this, because that's how possessions can happen and whatnot.
Hmm.
And what's very interesting to me is that to some of these non-human people, not having the exact precise boundary of no, this is not the type of situation I want, this is the type of situation I want, if it's kind of open, they see that as just a flat out invitation. And then if they're the auric weaknesses and whatnot, then it's a 1-2 punch. And I'm not surprised that that happened to you, unfortunately, though I am very sorry that that did occur.
Hmm.
I'd never wish that for anyone, truthfully.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't remember much of that session.
Mhm. That's very
Uh,
common. Hmm.
yeah, I don't remember it. However, the guy doing the session, he said it was one of the most intense session he's ever had with it. But I was answering his questions, you know. I mean, it was almost like a direct answer. So, that being said, after and Brent, he wouldn't talk to me for quite a while. It wasn't that I had done anything wrong. He was
He was
just spooked.
spooked.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was spooked. And so that's really when I started to meditate heavily and seek out how do you protect yourself.
Good. Good.
I didn't know that before, so I was there in ignorance, right? So now, before I would do anything like an Estes method or anything, I would go and meditate first, find my protections, find my um, I guess spirit helpers or spirit guides or whatever you want to, whatever they're called, whatever they want to be called, and say, hey, look, look out for me, protect me. So, if I ever did it again, that's what I would, that's what, how I would approach it now to try and protect myself. But then again, part of me says, well, it's not much different than a Ouija board, because you're offering yourself for communication between, this world and that world.
Mhm.
And it might open up some kind of doorway between the two worlds where you're the other end of the door, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, yeah, I'm sort of on the fence whether I would do that again or not.
I hear you. I I don't recommend that most people do any of what it is that you guys
Hmm.
do. Although I respect everyone's path equally if they
Hmm.
want to. But it is true that you're opening a doorway to the unknown, and I just don't think that most human people are healthy enough to sustain that kind of risk. And then on top of that, most of the time, unless something is beginning to manifest from the pre-physical, most human beings are not able to see that. And there's just so much vulnerability there that
Hmm.
I would be too concerned. So that's why again, in part, I also wound up quitting because it's too dangerous and unknown for me, in my opinion.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I support you whichever way you'd like to take it. I just hope that you'll be safe.
Oh, well, like I say, there's some things out there that, if you're ignorant about it, you don't know to say, hey, that's dangerous,
Yeah.
until you
Yeah.
gain some experience,
True.
and wisdom comes with experience. And like I said, if I had to do it all over again, I definitely would protect myself before
Yeah.
doing it, and
Yeah.
I would probably more think twice about doing something like that. So,
Yeah. I
um,
think you are gaining wisdom, my
yeah,
friend.
yeah. So, but, I don't know if it's foolishness or what, but I'm not scared of anything because I have seen so much. I'm not scared of anything. Even these evil entities or whatever, I think they can be dealt with, you know, through
Oh
one way
yeah.
or the other. I think they can be dealt with. I don't think they have an absolute power or anything. I think they're just like any other entity. They have weaknesses, and you can battle them.
Mhm.
But
If I may, I've dealt with some extremely so-called negative non-human people before.
mhm,
And what they wound up telling me is that it's all down to consent, and that human people often don't understand that even though their lips are saying no and their conscious brain is saying no, their unhealed trauma and their subconscious are saying yes.
mhm,
And so
exactly,
that's hmm,
exactly.
right. Right. Okay. So you kind of get where I'm
I do,
going with that, I think. Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. And so they do seem to have a strict moral code. And a big part of my channel then is just to encourage everyone to be more fair, to be more open-minded,
Mhm,
to be more descriptive instead of prescriptive, and to work through all of their traumas in order to have a very happy and healthy life, even as deep down as the subconscious, if possible. That's
mhm,
how we can prevent these types of hauntings and happenings from occurring, in my understanding. And in my paranormal career, every case with every person that has taken the advice and the care plans that I've given them, the activity stopped. The being would go away and find someone else. So, yeah, that's my take on it. I don't believe in exorcisms. I think that they are actually a grift, a subconscious grift, and
mhm.
I've seen a lot of usury and whatnot. So I don't know. I hope that makes sense. I'm starting to
Oh,
ramble.
it makes absolute sense.
Okay.
Just because somebody says words or does a ritual, I don't think that has any power. I think it's deeper inside the person that has the power. So I think that's kind of like what you were saying.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
yeah. So people themselves have power, and it took me a long time to realize your words have power.
Yes.
Your words, your thoughts, everything has power because you create your own reality. You really do. You can
Yes.
attract positive things in your life and you can attract negative things. It depends on your thought processes, your words that you use. It's just
Yes.
like when okay, not long ago, I had a spinal injury,
Right.
just a few days ago. And
Mhm.
when I went into the hospital, I was sure that I was going to have surgery.
Mhm.
Um, or at least beforehand, I did. I couldn't feel my right leg. I couldn't walk. I was in so much pain that
Oh.
um, if anybody's ever had a kidney stone,
Mm.
they'll know what I'm talking about. It's that kind of
Mhm.
pain. But I would
Mhm.
say it was a kidney stone on steroids.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, it was the worst possible pain I could imagine. And even now, I'm in some pain, but it's very manageable. But while I was in the hospital, long story short,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I came back and I thought to myself, I said, I can give in and have surgery and all this, or I can just create my own reality and not have it. And I just started thinking positive, just saying good things. I would meditate from time to time, especially when I was on a lot of drugs.
Oh yeah.
They gave me several shots of morphine. I was able to really
Yeah.
meditate. But
Yeah.
no, even then, I was able to keep a clear mind. It
Mhm.
just kind of it took the edge off all the pain. But I was grateful for it because I was able to meditate some more.
Yes. Yes.
And uh, I'll say today was the first day I was able to walk uh, without a walker or being in a wheelchair. So I mean, I'm really, really looking forward to the next several days because I mean, the power of your mind is infinite. I can't
I agree.
express, if your audience is listening, really believe this. Your mind creates your reality. It
Yes.
really does. Think positive all the time, and just will things to happen for you. Not long
Mhm.
ago, um, on October 1st of this year, 2023, my son was in a very horrific car accident. Um, he had to be airlifted to the hospital. On the way to the hospital, he had to be intubated because he went into respiratory failure. Uh, so when I got to him, he was on an intubator and of course, unconscious. He was in a coma. And that was a very, very low part for me. But after that, I started, sending out people, feelers to people saying, hey, please pray for my son. He's had this horrible accident. And I started meditating myself. So, what I think what happens with prayer is that it's positive vibrations setting out and going out into the universe. And the more positive vibrations you have, the better a chance that a good outcome is going to come toward those positive prayers. And he's back in college. Well, he's actually just finished college. He was out for a month and a half,
Yeah.
and he had a traumatic brain injury, uh, fractured shoulder, fractured vertebrae. He overcame all of that within a month and a half. He went back to school, finished with straight A's. So,
Right.
I mean, I can't stress enough how much positive uh, thinking and a positive attitude will have on everything. If you
Oh, for
if you go
sure.
out investigating, you'll probably end up with more activity
Mhm.
and better activity. Your life in general, even though that you'll have obstacles to overcome, you can still overcome these obstacles with positive thinking, you know,
Yes.
and positive words. You, you
I
know, um, I kind of go back to like what Jesus was saying. He said, like, whatever you say, if you believe it enough, it's going to happen. It's the same to me. It's the
Yeah.
exact same thing.
Yeah, I
Believe
agree.
what you're saying.
I think that that's a type of prayer, you
Exactly.
know? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I I do believe that voting for our reality is crucial. And I do believe that getting people together who have the same goal, the same desire, and they're putting out that same type of frequency
Hmm.
is powerful. And
Exactly.
yes, then this
Exactly.
gets into my theory on angels. I think that every person is an angel, whether they are human, non human, some mixture of both, or whatever. And I think that it is up to each person to choose what kind of message they bear.
Hmm.
And outside of that, I do believe that it is crucial to have what I call a life formula of mindfulness, your desired vibration, aka positivity or anything else, and then your humility, in my experience, determines how far you go.
Hmm.
So that's how I theorize life theory, and I'm so glad that you brought up positivity and the role of its influence in the paranormal and all of that.
Hmm.
And I do have to say, this is a beautiful note on which to end our show, my friend, because
Hmm.
we are out of time. However, Greg willing, I would like to have you back on for another show somewhat soon.
Would absolutely love to.
We'll set that up after the show, my friend. In the meantime, where can we find you? How can we find you, dear?
Okay. You can find our website at www.relicfilms.net. And you can look up our film. It's The Legend of the Downy Booger, and you can watch
Okay.
it free on Tubi TV and a plethora of other streaming platforms.
That is just excellent. And we will see you all very soon.